Today we're going to go over the Dune Awakening circuit system, what all the menus mean, and how to set everything up properly. Before we jump into it, be sure to join our community Discord in the top link down below. We do tons of giveaways on there, and all you have to do to be eligible to win is subscribe to this YouTube channel. As you can see, I have a little room set up here with some fabricators and refiners. That way I can easily show you how to do everything you need to know. When you first open up a refiner or fabricator and you go to the storage tab, you might notice you see circuit 1 and circuit 1 in these two boxes on the top right of your screen. The easiest way to understand what these are is think of the one on the left as the input and the one on the right as the output. Whenever you click on either one of the drop downs, you'll notice there's circuit 1 through 8 on both of these boxes. And at the moment, you can only have your base organized with 8 different circuits, meaning you're going to have to fit everything into these 8, and I'll show you how I set mine up to make it make the most sense. So let's just say these two chests right here are the chests that I want all of my refined ingots to be deposited into, so I know exactly where they're at. You'd open it up, and in the top right of your screen, you would see circuit 1 and circuit 1, just like in the refiner. And since the box is where you want all your refining stuff to go, you would want to set the input of this box to whatever you set the output of your refiner to be. And remember, the box on the left is your input, which is what we want to alter on your storage container. I personally like my refiners and my ingots to export to number 2, so that's what I'm going to set this particular chest as the input, which is circuit number 2. So now that we've set our storage container to input number 2, we need to go to our refiner and make sure that we set our export circuit to number 2 to match the chest. So now you'll see if I go into this refiner and I go to craft an ingot, you'll see it's crafting, and now it should export into the chest that we just assigned it to. You might have noticed that the internal storage of the refiner was filled with Solari. This is done on purpose because the game likes to fill up its internal storage before it'll export to the boxes that you actually want the deposited items to go. So instead of all of your ingots being just cluttered up inside the storage of the internal refiner, just clog up the internal storage, that way it goes directly to the box that you want it to go. You don't have to use Solari, you can quite literally use anything you want, but I just think Solari looks the cleanest and it doesn't annoy me. That is quite literally how the circuit system works in this game, and if you understand everything we just discussed, the rest of this video will be a breeze. I like to set everything I craft through my chemical refiner to go to circuit 3. For my dedicated resource chem refiners, I only like to craft silicone blocks, cobalt paste, and stradvium fiber. I don't craft any of the lubricants or fuel cells on circuit 3 to keep my base as organized as possible, but I'll explain that when we get to those circuits. For my circuit 4, I like to set all my survival fabricators, all my weapon fabricators, and all my clothing fabricators to circuit 4. The reason I clump all 3 of these fabricators to the same circuit is because they're all player-based equipment and it makes sense to have them all in the same one. So you see I open up the fabricator and I set my export to circuit number 4. So then you would just want to go to the chest where you want all these to export to and set the inputs to number 4. And you might have noticed I didn't have the internal storage on this clogged with Solari. And the reason this differs to the refiners is because when you craft something for your character, you typically want to get it and go. You don't want it to export to a random spot in the base. Although it's still good to have a circuit set up just in case the storage is filled. If you're doing mass production, you'll know exactly where it did go. My circuit number 5 is dedicated to all my spare vehicle parts and my fabricator exports. This means anytime I go to export vehicle parts, they would always export to my circuit number 5 on my shelving unit. But remember, this means that wherever you want your number 5 to go, you have to go to those chests and set the input to circuit number 5 to match. I personally like to dedicate my circuit number 6 to vehicle fuel cells, and I give them their own circuit. That way I can mass produce vehicle fuel cells and have them distributed all around the guild base without any other thing being blocked in their path. And by doing so, that means you need a dedicated chemical refiner dedicated to circuit 6 for only producing vehicle fuel cells. The reason this is such a good idea is because you could have dedicated fuel cell chests in your hangar or even in your garage. And as long as those chests are set as an input number 6, all of your fuel cells would only go to those chests. I have circuit number 7 on our guild base set up as base upkeep, meaning any of the items needed to upkeep the base, such as lubricant or filters, get crafted and put into these chests, which would always be deposited on circuit 7. And this way you don't have a ton of lubricant and filters being clogged up with all the other items in your base. Since our guild uses a guild base to live out of, everybody has their own locker room. And with doing so, you don't want the base fabricators or refiners to pull stuff from people's personal chests. And this is where I'll use circuit 8, almost as if it's a null circuit. It's not used by anything. And on these, I'll even set the input and the export to circuit number 8. That way nothing accidentally gets put in them and nothing accidentally gets taken out of them. Because remember, the right circuit is export, and if I would have left it on number 1, that means the base could have potentially pulled from this personal locker storage. The circuit default is always number 1 for your base, but if you go to your subfief, you can change this to anything you want. So hypothetically, you could make circuit 8 be the default circuit that everything gets pulled from. I definitely hope they add to the circuit system in the future and maybe add it toward the game will auto deposit from a Dropbox, but we'll see. This is essentially all you need to know about the circuit system in this game. If this helped you out, be sure to hit a like, be sure to subscribe, and thank you guys for watching.